Alright, Frontal Blessings. We are back with another video. Just going to go through real quick announcements. Again, if you're interested in booking a 2024 yearly forecast reading, that's happening now until pretty much first week in February. But as of the recording of this video, which is today, Tuesday, November 22nd, if you see this video, I am booked solid for the rest of this week. I cannot book any readings or consultations until next week, so please keep that in mind. So if you reach out, again, I will book it for some time from next week forward. So if you're interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading, if you're interested in any of the other type of readings I offer, Clepothic Demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian Oracle readings, Shadow Work readings, Deity readings, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to book a reading. Also, if you are interested in signing up for the classes, I do an offer. I do 3 classes every month on Patreon for Patreon members only, and also a group ritual, which we all do together at the end of the month. In order to get access to all of the classes, all of the ongoing series, and I mean, it's 3 years worth of content and counting, various different topics and series of classes on there. Go to patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI tier 3. That's the tier you want to join. That will give you access to all of the classes, including everything in the archive when you join, not just classes from the day you join moving forward, over 3 years worth of content. And as I said before, on the Patreon, we go in depth. We talk about things we would not talk about on YouTube. There's ritual work. There's exercises. There's group fellowship and participation. So it's a whole totally different process. It's really for those that want to really boost their path and take it to the next level. Also, check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. I also upload all these new videos on the Facebook page and also on the Primordial Chaos podcast, which can be found on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Also, take mental note, 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference coming soon. More information as we get into next year on the October 2024. My email address, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes, the social media pages, all that information is in the description box of the video that you're watching here. It's going to be a real simple, straight to the point video, not too long. I got a lot of feedback on the video that I did, I think it was last week sometime, Bow Down to Nothing to No One. So it's kind of gonna be connected to that and what we were talking about in the previous video. We must get locked in our head. We are the only true God and Master. This is one of the key focal points that people who leave religion and come on this path still struggle with on a subconscious level. Okay, now to break this down straight to the point, we need to establish a couple things, and I'm going to keep this simple and straight to the point. First and foremost, when we are saying we are God, we have to be careful using that word because of how God has been religiously indoctrinated. Because the outside person hears the word God, and most likely the outsiders are religious or are indoctrinated by religion. If they're not religious, they automatically think when we say that we're talking about like a monotheistic God. No. Okay? There are many gods and goddesses in the pantheon that we work with, but to get us to the realization, right, that we are them and they are us, so in essence, we are the only true God and Master. We're not looking, first and foremost, to acknowledge or worship some spook force outside of ourselves that we have laid claim to be, that we are inferior to, and we can't even prove exist, by the way, and worship this fairy tale mythological God. We say we're God in the sense that we take accountability for everything we do. We take responsibility for our actions, and we also have declared our spiritual sovereignty, liberation, and freedom from all enslavement and spiritual and mental doctrines that enslave you on that level. So We're basically saying that we are taking control of the choices and the decisions that we make in our life. Nobody's going to dictate to us what we can and cannot do, what we should eat and not eat, what we should fuck and not fuck, and all this other stuff. And all these rules and regulations that come with it. You can't do this, you can't do the whole nine. But we also accept the responsibility, because in making those conscious choices and decisions, we know there's a cause and effect, of what we call karma, to it. So we're very conscious and aware. And I want to make this clear. It doesn't mean because we take that mental approach that we recklessly, with no regards for ourselves, just do shit off the cuff. Now, some people do it. They just reckless with their shit. But that's not what this path is about. We do things consciously and aware of how it's going to impact and affect us long term. So that's where the accountability and the responsibility comes in. I know by the conscious choices and decisions I make, the cause and effect of them. Okay? And I take the responsibility for that. This is in alignment with what it is to be God. When we're using that term, because you hear me say that a lot over the years, I just want to be clear. Not God in the sense of some mythological, faith-based religious God. That's all spookism, fairy tale. Okay? It's just a method of counter-reacting that spookism that they created about this monotheistic God that they jammed down our throat and forced us to accept, obey, and worship. And really, these were just men who got together and compiled these so-called holy books and created these religions to control the masses. That's all it is. So we've made a declaration and a statement. We release ourselves from all that type of mental, emotional, and spiritual bondage. We're not fucking with that. Okay? We've come to the realization that the very God at a very small age that they indoctrinated with us and put us on a mission to find, and had us start from searching outside of ourselves, looking everywhere but within, we realized always existed within. The master always resided within. That great God that they pumped into our mentality, that we were some of us, maybe not all of us, prior to coming on this path, that we were trying to seek, we never really realized we were looking at them. We're looking at that God every morning when we looked in the mirror. See, we always say on this path, the helping hand you're looking for is at the end of your arm. Okay? You must understand nothing or nobody is coming back to save you. Get this in your mind. Okay? This is important to really understand, because as time changes and as things are changing in the world and in society, you need to have a well-grounded and harmonized approach on reality and life, existence, and what's going on and how the world is changing, whether it's in nature, whether it's in our environment, our surroundings. All of this is important, because if you think there's some external spook force that's going to come to your aid and assist you in this, you're all fucked up. You all fucked up. And you're going to get caught out there. Okay? You're going to get caught out there in the sense that you're going to have a false perception of what's really going on in your life and what's going on around you. So if you are a proactive person, which we're supposed to be on this path, because we're proactive beings, not reactionary beings, right? Because people who are reactive by nature just react off of pure emotion. And that's unfortunately what's going on in the world today. You see stuff on the news, they pump fear into you, they tap into your emotions, and then you start to react based on that fear and what type of emotion it triggered within you. Look, I can't stress enough the importance. When I'm saying the first step of being God and being a practitioner on this path, whether you call yourself a black magician, whether you call yourself a sorcerer, a black adept, whatever terminology you use, the first step and the plan and the process you must develop is to be in control of yourself first. You must master yourself and your immediate surrounding and environments. That's your family, your circles of business and finance, anything that's involved in your life circles, that's what you must become master and God over, okay? Because first and foremost, it starts there in that inner circle. If you can't control your inner circle, shit, you're off your axis, as we say in Eastern left-hand path mysticism, right? You're not an al-Qut, which means the center. You're not in the center of your axis. When you're the center of your axis, everything in life is evolving around you, with you being the central or the focal point. That means you are in control of what's going on in your life and in your worlds around you. Okay? Because people get this part a little fucked up, because then they get twisted. But this stuff, so you're saying this stuff in the world doesn't affect all this? Of course it affects you to a degree, but not to the degree you should allow it that they're trying to get it to affect you, where it disrupts your whole entire fucking life. And some people can't function because they're so fucking spooked out. They get so caught up in all of the sensationalism and the bullshit on the news and all the fear mongering that's programmed into society. Not like that. I'm not saying if there's something, or worldly events going on, if there's something that's affecting the economy, if there's a pandemic, I never said that that's not going to affect you to a certain degree, but you can control to the level it affects you, because they want it to completely disrupt your whole entire existence. And I refused to allow that shit to happen, and so should you. Okay? The reality is, as far as like the pandemic, yeah, it was fucked up when it first came, regardless of your take on it. But it's here to stay. It was the same thing when you weren't around and that first wave of the flu hit in the early 1900s. Remember that flu pandemic? It was pretty much almost an endemic. It was here for 3+ years, almost 4 years. Okay? And in times of despair or fear or confusion, that's when you're supposed to draw upon your spiritual power, your spiritual path, and your understanding of being a true God more than ever. I don't know why people abandon their spirituality and their knowledge of self and the knowledge that they've gained and acquired in times of stress and trouble. That's when you want to draw from your spiritual path. Okay? That's when you want to rely on your spiritual strength. Okay? Not turn away from it. Because again, what good is all of this knowledge if you're reading all of these books and you're working and performing all of these rituals and you've been on the path, you know, some might be a seasoned vet X amount of time, vice versa. What good is it if you have all this knowledge but you can't apply it? Because when it comes in critical times of need, that's when the application of the knowledge you claim to have, and I'm going to say claim, is when you need to put it into practice, to utilize it, to assist you. Look, as I said before, we're not just honest, but we don't just do shit to be doing it. We don't do that shit. Get that in your head. That's not what we're about. That's not what we do. Okay? That's the time where you draw strongly upon your spiritual power. That's the time when you go in as hard as you can and apply the wisdom that you've gained from all of this so-called knowledge that you claim you have acquired. So, bottom line is, you are the only true God and master. There's nothing coming to help and assist and save you. I can't stress that enough. That's what the purpose and the focal point of this path is about. And when you're in tune with everything that's going on in your life, your surroundings and your circles, what's going on with nature, and within yourself, that is the combination that gets you functioning and connection and clicking on all cylinders. That's what it is. Because you're linked in on all levels, on a spiritual level, a mental level, and an emotional level, and to a degree a physical level. Okay? So the search stops today. You found God. Embrace God now. Okay? And embrace every aspect of yourself that is God, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because That's you. We have to get this locked and embedded in our minds so we don't keep approaching this path with fairy tale concepts and fairy tale expectations. If shit ain't manifesting and happening in your life, that's not because there's no external spooky spirit that's not answering your prayers. That's just some shit you doing wrong. That's where, again, the accountability has become being a God. You take accountability for everything that's going on in your life. When it comes to success and failure, you don't blame anything or anybody for it. And it works reverse too, as I said a million times. You also acknowledge and give yourself credit for the things successfully you have obtained and have accomplished. See, the beauty of that and understanding that and grasping that and embracing that, you want to know what the beauty of that is? There's no crutch to lean on. There's nobody to blame. It's all on you. You're in control. So whether you succeed or you fail, that's on you. You in control, right? There's no Yahweh, Jehovah, God, or Allah, or Elo. There's no spook fairy tale God that you must show obedience to. That's going to do it for you. That's the beauty, people. So you are the only true God and Master. Stop looking and look, please. Let me say this before I wrap this up. As I said, this ain't gonna be too long of a video. And let me say this, okay? Please do not approach this path through the eyes of working with deity like you did, or like some folks did in previous systems, like monotheistic religion. Because what you're doing is you're defeating the purpose of why you came on this path. Do not look at the Goetia, the demons, the spirits, the hierarchy of archdemons, all the various gods and goddesses in many of these different systems we work with. Please do not look at them through the eyes of monotheism and religion. Because if you do, you're back to square one. It's going to get worse for you before it gets better. And that's why I was saying in that previous video, bow down to nothing or no one. We don't worship anything on this path. Worship is for weak, mortal-minded individuals. People that need to worship things and grovel in front of statues, images, or in places of like church, this, that, and the other, and grovel and beg and plead and implore and pray to spook forces for salvation. And it's not that we don't work with demons and spirits to assist us, but our approach is very different. We don't beg and implore and oh, please do this for me and then I promise. And we don't bargain with the spirits. I've said that a million times before. Get that shit in your head. We don't bargain with the spirits. We establish a relationship where we walk side by side with the spirit. Please find a way to get that locked into your head. It's the only way you'll truly be able to grasp the power of this path and what it's about. And as you see, it's about shedding and removing all of those things that serve you no purpose. Look, when I say that, I want to be clear. So if you came from a previous system, it could be Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Ifa, this, that, and the other, whatever that is. It doesn't mean there's not some points you can't utilize across the board, knowledge that, because there's knowledge in all those systems, including religion, that apply off the board. Honor thy mother and father, right? That's common sense, right? I'm just giving you an example. It doesn't mean there's not information that can be used across the board that can apply in your life path and your path of self-mastery. But what it does mean, all the other bullshit that comes along with it that serves you no purpose, that's the stuff you got to just get rid of. The mindset, the approach, the dogmas, the restrictions, the rules, the all of that shit, you must let it go. If you are your own true God and master, The only restrictions, parameters, and boundaries that are set are the ones that you create. And notice I said the boundaries that are set. We say that word a lot, that are set. Whether you're aware of it or not, you are invoking the adversary satuk or set every time you use that word. Sun, set, Ra, and set. Can't have one without the other. Light and darkness, right? Can't have one without the other. You need both. And that's what this path is about, embodying light and darkness in a harmonious aspect so you can master yourself. It's the only way I can say it. All right? But other than that, I'm at my second destination. As I said, I wasn't going to keep this video too long. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual consultation or reading, a 2024 yearly forecast reading, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. If you would like to sign up for classes, go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Join Tier 3. That gives you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon and the group Ritual. Check us out, the podcast on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. All the links and information from my contact email, the direct link to the podcast, the direct link to sign up for the Primordial Chaos Patreon page for classes. All of that is in the description box of this video that you are watching right now. All right, I appreciate you guys' time. Frontal blessings, and we will talk soon. I'm out.